Hello, this is Will Herald, the Energy Hunter, with Akashic Intelligence, the original AI, coming to you from the Rogue River in Southern Oregon. Today we're starting a new series which we call Vortex Adventures. As some of you may know, I actually tried to seek out and find vortexes on the Earth, and especially those that are close proximity to my properties in Southern Oregon. I've done some previous videos related to biogeometry and the idea of courting sacred power spots to properties and actual to bring those energies into a property. And you can see those previous videos that I've done on Eagle Medicine Ranch, which is a property I own in Southern Oregon, in which I've courted Crater Lake, Mount Shasta, the Oregon Vortex, and a sacred power spot known as Table Rock here in Southern Oregon. And you can watch that video and see how I cord using Google Earth these energies and these vortexes to property in order to garner that energy to increase the effects of that area and to actually transmit beneficial energies that we talk about in the transmutation series that we also do. So if you want to watch those, please watch those on the Akashic Intelligence channel on YouTube. What we're going to talk about today, like I said, this is the first adventure we're going to go on, which is called Pluto's Cave. And Pluto's Cave is located just a little bit north of Mount Shasta. And Mount Shasta is considered one of the seven majestic mountains of the earth. And with that being said, it's considered the root chakra. And some of the other mountains in the world are also known for this chakra, as to say, like Haleakala in Hawaii is known as the heart chakra. And so what we're going to do, we're going to go on a journey today to Pluto's Cave, which is supposedly the entrance to Telos, which is Lemurian city under Mount Shasta. As with most videos I do, I create a collage that I use as the thumbnail on YouTube. And I've done that today, as we can look here. And as we can see, this is a photograph of Mount Shasta showing maybe some light coming from the city of Telos and from the root chakra of the earth. We can also see over here this cloud formation, which is what Reich also called an orgone, maybe generated ship. And these are very common around Mount Shasta. We can see these type of cloud formations that almost look like there's a spaceship or a saucer here, in which maybe aliens or interdimensional beings may be using to travel to and from to the chakras of the earth. We can also see a picture here of Saint Germain with the image of Mount Shasta in the back. Saint Germain is supposedly one of the ascended masters talked about by Helena Blavatsky and used to help guide the earth throughout its incarnations and through its development. As you can see here, he's also holding a crystal. He is actually the protector of the violet flame, which we'll talk a bit about. Here's a picture of Serapis Bey, who's also an ascended master. He actually was a part of the Ascension Temple in Atlantis and also in Egypt. And he, like me, is also an architect. And he is actually my one of my guides, because within my tarot numbers, I'm a 5, which is the Hierophant, and also overseen by Serapis Bey. Here we have a picture of Guy and Edna Ballard, who in the 30s went to Mount Shasta and supposedly met with Saint Germain. And here's a picture of Saint Germain in the background. And they actually started a whole series of books called the I Am series, which became a rather large following in the 1930s, but then ceased at the Second World War. Here is a picture of the god Pluto, who in Roman mythology is kind of the same as Hades in Greek mythology. And he is the guardian of the underworld, or the ruler of the underworld. As you can see here, he is on the boat, which is over the river Styx, which leads into the underworld, and that you had to pass in order to get into the underworld. Here is a photo that I pulled up, or a picture I pulled up, regarding some entities that may dwell as the invisible people that we're going to talk a bit about in Mount Shasta. So we're calling this adventure Pluto's Cave, Journey to the Underworld, Telos, and Root Chakra. So here we see these entities that may be on the mountain, these invisible entities, and we're going to talk a bit about those next. And here's one of my favorite guides that I often encounter on Mount Shasta, the crow. There's a lot of crows on Mount Shasta, but they often seem to show up at certain times when I need to pay attention and become aware. And so they've always been a very big animal guide for me when I go to Mount Shasta. And here we see what we call the Lemurian crystals. And since the Lemurians are the ones who are supposed to inhabit Telos, the Lemurian crystal, which supposedly is different than other crystals in that they are found in the Diamantina mine in Minas Gerais, Brazil. So these crystals that are found in this mine are supposedly the true Lemurian crystals, which I guess differentiates them from just other quartz crystals that we may find in other areas of the world. And here's a map of my journey into Pluto's Cave, and we're going to get into greater detail of that as we talk further about some of the ideas of Pluto's Cave. Now, after I go through this intro, I actually did do videos throughout the cave's journey, and those will follow. So if you want to just get to the cave journey, you can skip past all this introduction and history of the cave and so on, and just get to the journey into the cave. So as we move on, I said this is going to be called the Pluto's Cave, Journey to the Underworld and Root Chakra. Here's a picture that I took after I left the cave, after I had actually initiated a orgone device from Mitch the Orgone Donor, which is a power wand. And the mountain cleared up enough. When I entered it, it was pretty cold and rainy. As I came out, though, the peak cleared and the mountain cleared. Again, here's a picture of Guy and Edna Ballard. They went to the mountain in 1930. Guy was a miner, not a miner in age, but a miner in profession. And he actually said that he encountered Saint Germain on the mountain and had other encounters. And there's been quite a few encounters by other people that have been documented of running into entities, ascended masters, and so on. And again, this area of Pluto's Cave is supposedly, has lots of legends around it, but it could be the entrance to Telos, and could be the entrance to the underworld that we're talking about. It is a lava tube because Shasta is a dormant volcano, and so at one time it had much volcanic activity, just like Haleakala in Hawaii, and there's many lava tubes, and that's really what Pluto's Cave is that there's a series of lava tubes. Some are collapsed, with Pluto's Cave being at the end, and I want to go over that a bit about how to get there and really where the cave is and where to park and so on, just to help those that may want to journey there to actually find their way there. As I was saying, this is Guy and Edna Ballard. They started the I Am series. There's a lot of spiritual connection to Mount Shasta and to some of these iconic areas on the mountain. According to a Hopi legend, Mount Shasta, an extinct volcano, is the home of the lizard people. Some California Mary Indian tribes consider the mountain forbidden because it was a city of invisible people. And that would get back to the idea of this image I showed earlier here of these invisible people or entities or beings, which may be called the lizard people. And then according to a theory, the age of Lemuria was from 45 million BCE to 12,000 BCE. Approximately 25,000 years ago, Atlantis and Lemuria fought over ideas with nuclear weapons. So Lemuria, they were granted permission to build a city under Mount Shasta before Lemuria was destroyed. Its records and sacred flames were transported to Telos. So this is kind of the legend of Telos and the Lemurians that live underneath the mountain. This is, like I said, people have had many encounters with these Lemurians. If you visit the local pubs and establishments, you can always find someone willing to share a story, their Lemurian story. They're very interesting and often have to deal with crows being associated with them, Lemurians. Here's a picture of me and who I call Hercules, my cousin here. He's one of my sojourners on my journeys to vortexes and to the underworld, just as Ulysses and other Greek journeyers had their companions. I often have my companions that travel with me. And so this is a picture that we took when we were on a Mount Shasta spiritual adventure with Paul the Venusian. And Paul took us to quite a few of the, I would say, vortexes on Mount Shasta, such as Ascension Rock and so on. And this picture was taken and caught with the violet flame of Saint Germain behind us. Now, I'm sure it was taken with a filter, but when I was actually meditating on Mount Shasta with Paul, previously to this picture, I could see this violet type flame going all across the entire snow that we were sitting on. It was beautiful. And I do encounter this light quite a bit when I am on the mountain and, see this. So just as Perseus, Ulysses, and so on go to the center of the earth, go on these heroes' journeys to find these vortexes, that's what I want to try to accomplish in these vortex journeys. So above here, I have kind of a map of, what the layout of Pluto's cave is. And like I said, I did actual videos of, my journey into the cave that I want to kind of point out where those locations are, because they're snippets. I didn't want to do one whole journey that gets kind of boring. And I just took certain snippets as I walked about. Now, I usually don't plan the trip out exactly because I like to have encounters during the trip that are more, spontaneous and so on. So I got a little confused at the beginning. I thought I was at Pluto's Cave because per the map where it says Pluto's Cave isn't really Pluto's Cave. It's kind of the beginning of Pluto's Cave, which is, like I said, a series of collapsed lava tubes. So let's look at this map. So right here if you pull up Google Earth, you'll find Pluto's Cave is shown right here. And that's not really where Pluto's Cave is. But if you see over here, this is the parking area where you park. And you take off to the right here along this path, and you'll get to what we'd call the entrance to the lava tubes. Now, getting to this, I would recommend a four-wheel drive vehicle or a very good vehicle with very good suspension, because the road here is rather bumpy and has a lot of ruts in it. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So I would go with more than one person if you can. Just because it could be a little bit remote and dangerous out in this area, but I had no problems or no incident. But again, just for the safety of your group, you may want to travel, especially if you're a female, with somebody else. So as we look at the parking area here, like I said, you can park here, you walk over here, and this is where I did my first video, which was the intro, which I'm saying, I'm at Pluto's Cave. I'm showing a cave behind me here, which I thought was Pluto's Cave. It wasn't. As I journeyed down into this area here, I actually, saw that there was more to this complex than what it actually was. So here's kind of where I did the intros. I went down into the cave. Here's where I did the video, which I would call the cawing of the crow. This is where I saw my animal guide, which a crow came and landed just above here and cawed twice, which is, like I said, when I do some of these adventures, it always seems a crow likes to caw twice. When I was on this journey with Paul of Venus, he took me to Ascension Rock. And when I set my gear down, I've told the story before, there was a crystal wand on the ground that when I picked it up, a crow came and landed on Ascension Rock and cawed twice and flew off. So when I hear a crow caw twice, it's usually a message that something wants to speak to me. So here was where that event took place here. And this is a recessed area that's very green. It's amazing that down here in this collapsed lava tube area, as you can see, there's very sparse vegetation. But down here is kind of very green and had a lot of plants growing. The second place I was where I thought I was entering into Pluto's Cave again, but was just entering into the lava tube complex. This is what I call the path to the underworld. And then I entered into this lava tube, which basically runs from here to this other opening here. And I have some a view that I did inside that lava tube. And you can see like this opening here, which is shedding light, and you can see all the way out to this opening and this depressed area here. Now, once I got to here, this is truly the entrance to the underworld. This is where I did the video called Entrance to the Underworld and Paying the Ferryman. If anybody knows about the ferryman, this is as you cross the river Styx, you have to throw the ferryman a coin, and that pays for your passage to and from the underworld. So once you enter the cave here, the cave is a lava tube that runs all the way back to this area here. So this is the end of the cave, which has been collapsed. They did dynamite it a while ago. And this is as far as you can go. Now, at this point is where I actually do a prayer and I turn on Mitch's orgone power wand to actually hopefully activate or reinvigorate the root chakra of Mount Shasta, and to actually call forth the spirits of Saint Germain and of Serapis Bey. The funny thing is that when I turned my lights off back in the back, I actually saw images similar to those images here shimmering on the wall. Now my camera wouldn't pick those up, and they weren't this distinct, but there was very definitely like 3 images that were shimmering on the wall of the cave, and the very back darkest where there was no light in the back of the cave. So with that, again, this is Will Herald, the Energy Hunter. Please like and subscribe. And as we go on this journey, be present of all you see, and that this is an adventure to help the earth and to activate its chakras. So with that, enjoy the journey to the center of the earth and the underworld.
Hello, this is Will Herald, the Energy Hunter with Akashic Intelligence, the original AI. As promised this week, I'm going to do some Vortex Adventures. Within the energy hunting realm, we like to find what we'd call, we're on Mount Shasta right now. So we're in that northern eastern corner of California that a lot of people may say, what's that look like? Well, it's a volcanic type area because Mount Shasta is a volcano. And so you see a lot of volcanic rock, very small kind of sagey type plants, and a lot of small trees. But you can also see quite a bit of larger mountainous ranges also. But behind me right here that we were talking about, this is what we call Pluto's Cave right here, as you can see. Now I'm going to go in this cave because this is supposedly the root chakra. Mount Shasta is the root chakra. And this is the entrance to what they would call Telos, which was an underground passageway to the center of the earth that the Lemurians actually went through to go and inhabit underneath Shasta. So what I want to do is I have actually an orgone intention device with me. We're going to go in there and we're going to actually put some great intention, try to reactivate or strengthen the root chakra of the earth, give it our loving intention to say that we support it, and that we're here to help and aid in our growth and in our understanding of how we are rooted to this root chakra of the earth. So with that being said, let's head in. Hello, I'm back again. I'm getting ready to go into the true Pluto's Cave. What I told you earlier was a cave was a decoy. It's just part of a collapsed lava tube system, which is where the lava had flown underground, and then the top has collapsed and opened these up. But maybe you guys just heard the calling of the crow. And for me, that's a very, very spiritual experience, because I don't know if I've ever told anybody on this channel. I know I've told people in the group, but last year at the same time, I went on a tour to Ascension Rock on Shasta. And when I was at Ascension Rock, I was just putting my gear down to sit and meditate. And on top of the snow was this selenite wand, about 6 inches long, clear white on top of the snow that I found. And when I picked it up, a crow came and landed on the rock and cawed twice. And as I was getting ready to go into this cave, I heard a noise. And I looked up, and a crow just landed at the entrance of the cave and then flew off. So kind of very spiritual. You can hear the crow cawing in the background. You wonder what he's trying to say to us. Maybe we'll figure that out when we get into the cave. So here we are getting ready to enter the cave with this path. Seems very, entering the belly of the earth, kind of going into the underworld, as you might, heard in some of the other stories that are out there in the Greek mythology and so on. So here we go, man. This is the entrance to Pluto's Cave. Now, this was a sacred spot for many of the native peoples, and this is about 1,500 feet deep. And I've been told that when you get in the back, it's pitch dark. So once we get back there, we'll probably, unless I see any sights along the way, we'll try to turn on some light and see if we can show you what the end of the cave looks like. Hello, I'm about 200 feet into this next tube, and it's not the cave. It's just a tube to get there. You can see light that way. You can see refracted light. You can actually see the tube itself here. And then you can see another opening that's shedding light onto the tube down there. So this is Will Herald, the energy hunter, back on the case. I think we've actually now found the true Pluto's Cave. It looks pretty dark back there, and the foreground, like I said, almost looks like the entrance to the underworld. You're almost expecting to see the riverman come up. I brought some coins just in case. Just in case I might have to pay him to get over to the side. Because you don't want to not be able to pay the ferryman. You may not come back. Okay, so guys, what you may see here is we have Mitch's orgone device set up in Pluto's Cave now, the root chakra of the earth. And we're going to put in some good intention right now, and I'm going to turn off this light and just see how dark it gets back here. But let's go ahead at this point and just call out, as you're watching this video, the healing of the earth, the healing of the root chakra for the earth, and also for men and women in the sovereign society. Call for this energy from the spirits of fire, water, earth, and air. May they come back and help us to revigorate the energy fields of the earth, to bring back a time of peace and open new channels to ways of living that we haven't experienced before and have only dreamt of. So with that being said, I'm now going to turn off my light and just meditate for a while on that. And you can do the same. You can continue to meditate as the light is off. Saint Germain, Serapis Bey, and Ascended Masters, all those who dwell on this mountain, please come forth and shine your light. Speak to us of what you would have us do in this time of transmutation and change. May we unlock these powers that have been set forth within our mother's breast and within her root to sup her wisdom and her beauty and her strength and bring that forward into this new age. We uplift you. We hold you dear in our heart. We connect our head and our heart so that we will have the utmost potential for delivering this manifestation and this intention today. So I don't know if anybody can see this or not, but this is a rock scramble I got to get over so that I can get out of the cave. I don't think you can see it. So, whew. So just as Ulysses went to the underworld and came back with insight and knowledge, the energy hunter attempted the same. He went down into Pluto's cave, into the entrance to Telos, to talk to the ascended masters of the mountain and to activate the Root Chakra. Hopefully we were successful. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.
Hello, I hope you enjoyed the journey, and I hope all of you made it back safely. I want to conclude this with the idea that we can all go on these journeys and we can all experience the wonders of the earth and also begin to enjoy and acknowledge the energies that are within the earth and that we can actually access to promote a better way of life. As I mentioned earlier, in a previous video, I talked about courting the different aspects of sacred power spots to my site called Eagle Medicine Ranch, in which I have a very sacred tree there, which I call Mother Madrone. And I drew lines from Mother Madrone to each of these power spots. The one thing that I noticed as I was doing this video on Google Earth, because I use the same project where I have these lines located, as you can see here on this drawing, which is from in this map from Google Earth, this yellow line right here is the line that goes to the summit of Mount Shasta, to Mother Madrone. And look how close it comes to the entrance to Pluto's cave. Now, the chances of this happening are probably 1 in a billion, that this line would come this close to this vortex area that we had talked about. So this is one of those other, is it a coincidence? I think not. How these energies are going to interact with the area or the vortex that I'm beginning to create. The other thing I'd like to share is that on any good hero's journey, we should always bring back gifts from those we meet, especially when you go to the underworld. So the first thing I'd like to share is something I was given by Orpheus when I was down there, which is this cedar flute, which has an eagle on it for Eagle Medicine Ranch. So I can't wait to play that at Eagle Medicine Ranch. And I was also given this Lemurian crystal Palantir by the 3 witches that gave me insight into where to go. Now this Palantir helps me communicate and keep in touch with all my peeps out there in the energy world. So besides having a little fun, it's always nice to bring back some gifts to remember the journey. Again, this is Will Herald, the Energy Hunter with Akashic Intelligence, the original AI. Please like and subscribe, and stay safe, and keep searching for the beneficial energies of the earth that allow us to continue to promote those things which are beneficial to the earth and to the rest of all sentient beings that reside within our realm. Thank you so much.